Okay, well, hi everyone, and thank you very much for watching or listening. Liam Hartree here today with another episode of Presenting Champions for the Simply Inspired podcast. And today I've got a very, very special guest, bare knuckle pit fighting legend, Phil Hammond, who is, of course, very, very, very well known for his fights with Spartan Promotions. He's been with them a long time, and the most fights out of anybody in the pit, was the first contracted fighter. We've got some great stories to tell, as always with my interviews, not just about fighting, but also about other things that this man has overcome in his life. Including the fact that we're going to be touching on the fact that age is just a number today, because I have to say that Phil is still competing against guys many years younger than him and oftentimes beating them. We're going to be talking about football hooliganism in the 80s, his recovery from alcohol. We're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff. So stay tuned, everyone. And Phil, thank you for coming on the show, my friend. It's long overdue, and it's a pleasure to finally have you here.
Thanks for having me on, Liam. It's an honour and it's a pleasure. Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to it.
Same here, my friend. Same here. I've been looking forward to it for a while, and I'm glad we've finally got there. So, obviously, you're known for Spartan, and we'll talk about that. But if we go back in time a little bit to, your upbringing and to where you first learned that you could look after yourself with your hands, basically, where did the fighting side of things, even on the street and things like that, where did that start for you in the beginning?
Well, I'm just a normal geezer doing a normal job with a normal life. I'm not an athlete. I'm not a boxer. I don't walk about thinking I'm hard. I'm not in a gang. I just like to have a fight in pit, and that's me. So I'm 55. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Sign up, have a fight in pit. Let's fucking have it. I was brought up on a rough estate in Sheffield called Wyburn, and we was a one-parent family. There were me, my older brother, and my mother. I've always been small, so I was always smaller than other kids. So all other kids thought that you could take piss. So literally I learned to fight when I was about 10, 11, just to stop people taking piss and trying to stop bullying me. And I had to look after my mother as well. My mother was always small, and my older brother, he weren't interested in all that. I'll say he was just a nice, normal lad, whereas I were a bit more of a nasty. I would fight and I would trouble causer, and I sorted all that out, and and then you just end up with wrong crowd now and again, don't you? Then you do that's how it is. I started going to football matches in the early 80s when I was like 14, 15. I was still at school, and oh God, having a fight at a football match, doing not like it. Big mob of you, big mob of them. Few punches are dished out, few kicks are dished out. Nobody really got hurt. Everybody had a good time, and that buzz always stayed with me. That buzz always stayed with me. I still look at football matches now and again and think, won't mind that. But you get arrested these days and you get locked up, and I'm not in for none of that no more. A nice legal fighting pit.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
I don't break law anymore. I'm a really good lad now.
Yeah. Well, we'll come to some more of that in a moment. But something you mentioned just now before we started recording is back then the police wouldn't really haul you in every single time. You were saying sometimes they just give you a clip round the ear hole and sort of send you on your way type of thing. So for people who don't know how the scene was then versus how it is now type of thing, can you share with us some of the changes and all that type of thing?
In early 80s, you just had two mobs that would just meet up, just looking for each other. No mobile phones, no internet, no communication. You just go and find a mob of whatever football fans you were going to their ground, in a pub, in a town centre, and you'd just get stuck in and have a fight. If police turned up, they'd just wade in same. Police would just wade in, they'd start throwing the truncheons about. A few people would get whacked. You get a clip round to your roll and you'd run off. And mad difference now is that if you fight at a football match, you get arrested and you get 5 years.
Yeah.
So it were a massive difference. But when I were into it, nobody really got hurt. You got a few punches, you got a few kicks. If you went down, you might only get kicked once while you're down, and that were it. Nobody got stamped on. Nobody got seriously hurt. It was just fun had by everybody, and it was just like-minded people wanting to fight each other from different towns. I suppose it's just a man thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah, absolutely, man. Get out your system and just get the aggression out there. It's natural, but yeah, they have cracked down on it, but I think they've had to as well because of all the knives and all the blades and all the stuff that's going on. I mean, there's two sides to it. So, at what point did you try and join the army when you were a youngster as well? Because that was something you mentioned that was a sort of important time in your life, even though it didn't go the way you wanted, unfortunately.
I were always brought up to join army. I were always brought up to join army. My mother drummed it into me. My mother were in army. My dad were in army. My aunties were in army. My uncles were in army. And I were brought up to join army. When I got to 16, I left school. I went to join army and they knocked me back because I'm 5'3". So size, I weren't tall enough. And a few years later, they brought size down a bit. I think it was 5'8", 5'9" at one time, and then they brought size down. So I went to join again. I think I must have been about 18, 19. I went to join again because they brought size down, but I was 5'3", and they brought size down to 5'5", 5'6". So I was still not tall enough, so I couldn't join army. When they eventually brought size down to any height, which it is now at any height, I'd got 3 young kids at the time, and they were going to Northern Ireland, and it were you can't join because there's a good chance you don't come back, and you've got young kids. So that was it. Which a lot of anger built up, a lot of anger. I felt really let down. So I suppose I started fighting more then. That's when I started boozing as well, started drinking. So then it was drinking, town Saturday night, having a bit of a punch up, which generally ended up nearly every Saturday night, every Friday night. Broken noses, broken knuckles, occasionally waking up with an headache, smashed up face. Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah. And that was mostly coming from like the bitterness, if you like, of not being able to get in the army. That makes sense. So you may have no idea with this one, but out of the street fights you were having in that time, do you know how many roughly, or is it just so many you've got not a clue type of thing?
not got a clue. Not got a clue. It were pretty regular. It were pretty regular. That's what everybody did. You went downtown, you had a fight. You got pissed up at a fight, and that were it. No else were ever thought of it. That were it. You always never went downtown with intention to have a fight, but I suppose it were territorial Sheffield town centre. Like in especially 80s and early 90s, pretty territorial and different estates banging into each other in different parts of town, and then it'd go off, and that were it.
Yeah. Again, it's a change in the era though, isn't it? Because it's like, same generation as my dad and people in my family, they'll tell these stories about all these types of fights, but different to now. Again, no blades, no weapons, just
No.
forward punch up, and it's funny how it's changed. So that was a time in your life when this was going on. You mentioned injuries, you mentioned broken hands, broken noses. Tell us a little bit more about some of what you came away with from those times, or the other guys, what they came away with.
Again, it was very rarely you get seriously hurt. I don't think none of my mates really got seriously hurt, and I never really got seriously hurt. It was just broken noses, black eyes, lumps on your head, and broken knuckles, broken hands, smashed up hands, and that would maybe bruised ribs. I've never had a broken rib yet, touch wood, and just bruises, just bruised, just battered and bruised. No, right.
Standard stuff, really.
Yeah, standard stuff. You wake up on a Sunday morning, you've got a few battered and bruised, and dust yourself off, get it shower. Everybody's happy.
Yeah. And another thing that you mentioned when we were, I think when we were talking on the phone setting this up, you also mentioned that you tried to get into boxing at a point in time as well. And I'm not sure exactly what the timeline, if that was during this time or if that was a bit later, but let's tell that story because at this point you obviously had the dream of trying to fight professionally or doing something a bit more like that, you know?
Always wanted to be a boxer. I used to watch boxing from an early age. I must have been about 12, 13, 14. Always, when boxing were on telly and it were no pay-per-view and it was Saturday night boxing and it was highlight of my week, and I loved it and loved it. But it was really hard to get into. To go to a local gym, you had to have family there, or you had to know somebody. You had to have your dad had to know training, or somebody had to know somebody. So I went up to a couple of gyms and literally just got ignored. I was small, I was tiny, and I suppose it was pretty expensive and all. Which we had no money when we were kids. When like my mother, single parent, we didn't have much money. So it was still it was hard, really hard. So I give up on that idea. After a few years, I just give up on that idea, and that's I suppose that's why I started fighting as well. Just fighting anybody, just fighting anybody.
Yeah. Well, it was like that in those days. It was all about it's not what you know, but who you know and all that type of thing. Obviously, I know again a lot of guys, trainers and ex-fighters from those days, and different world now where a fighter can get himself out there on social media and all this type of thing and build a name up that way. But at least you got there in the end, obviously with Spartan, and we'll talk about that soon. But before we do, I also want to give a mention to the alcohol side of things. I know it was something you struggled with. And again, as you know, one of the reasons I do these interviews is also to inspire people as well and to show people that they can come back from, that type of thing, basically, what one man can do, another can do. So again, I don't know where you want to go with this one, but anything you'd like to say about basically about how that started and also about how you managed to, I think you completed a 12-step program in the end. So in your own words, basically, let's get into that.
Basically, for me, I started heavy drinking in my 20s, in my early 20s. And when you start, you can't stop. And I couldn't stop. And I had years and years and years of heavy drinking every single night, on cans, out every weekend, pissed up, blacking out regular, causing major problems with my wife, with my kids, with my family, with my work, with my jobs, everything. I couldn't get out of bed any morning. I'd lost all motivation. So eventually, after what 25, 30 years, it's it. I ended up divorced through it. Ended up losing my business through it. Losing my self-respect. Losing everything. So I decided that I'd had enough. I'd really had enough. So I stopped. Pretty hard to do. I work a 12-step program, and I had a drink or use any form of substance for just over 7 years now. So it's always with Spartan lads. After we'll have a pint, and all that, and I have to have a pint of water. And that's it. I don't miss it at all. I like waking up in the morning. I love life. And that's why 99 times out of 10 I've always got a big smile on my face.
Well, that's the way to do it. I mean, life is for living at the end of the day, and well done. Because, like I said to you on the phone, I got massive respect for that. I mean, it's just as hard to do as getting in the pit or anything else you've done, And what advice would you give to somebody else out there who is struggling, with that type of thing at the moment, and maybe they don't know where to turn or, that everything like that?
Get my number and give me a ring. I'll quite happily have a chat with you, whether I know you, whether you're Spartan, whether you're a fighter, or don't matter who. Find me on Facebook, you'll see me. My number's on there. Send me a message and I'll be able to point you in the right direction. No problem at all.
Absolutely, yeah, brilliant. That's brilliant to know because there's some people and they think, go on.
Talk about it. Don't keep it a secret. Don't hide. Talk about it. There's plenty of help out there for people. Plenty of help.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I'll always be able to guide, pose anybody to where they need to be.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this is a thing, man. It's a shame, and I know how it goes, even from people in like my extended family and all that type of thing. It's an isolating thing, you know. People think they're the only one going through it. They feel
Yeah,
ashamed. I think shame is a big thing, and it really puts a barrier around people. But it's good that you've come through it, and it's good you can help other people come through it, basically. So I'm glad we got that message out there. Now, you also mentioned to me, because I know, by the way, I always say to people, big respect on putting this out there, because I'm going to say the same to you, because some of the stuff we're talking about, I mean, it is quite personal. There's no two ways about it. So it's not a question for you. I'm just saying that big respect on putting out there some stuff that's probably not always easy to talk about either. Do you know what I mean? Even though you've come through it, like you said to me on the phone, you've been there, you've done it, you've got the t-shirt and everything, but at the same time, putting it out there, just want to say big respect for that, because it's not easy, you know.
thank you.
Um, so yeah, so okay, so talking about that as well, with the thing with your marriage and everything, you mentioned that there was a mental health struggle that went on, let's call it that, after the divorce. And like I say, I never probe into people's personal lives, but as I've said before, what you can bounce back from, what you can come through, it shows someone else they can as well. And that's the beautiful thing about it, you know. So as much or as little as you'd like to say about this, that's up to you. But do you mind sharing a little bit about what happened around that time, if that's all right?
I'd say basically for me, I hit rock bottom. All I wanted to do was die. A couple of suicide attempts, which didn't work, and all I wanted to do was die. That were it. And I come through it. I got through it. I battled it. I got rid of my demons. Well, I've still got a few demons in here. I've still got a few demons flying about around here. That's why I like to get in that pit and get rid of them demons. Temporarily get rid of them. But yeah, I hit rock bottom. I battled it. I got through it. I turned my life totally round. I turned into a totally different person to who I used to be. And that's why I'm always happy now. It don't really matter what happens now. It's for me. It's I've won. I'm winning on life. I'm winning on life. I can control depression, and I can control demons. And I hit that rock bottom. It weren't nice. It weren't pleasant. A lot of people do it, and I come through it.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, mental health is one of those things where wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy, you know. I mean, when you're around people going through it, I think it's one of the worst things that can happen to people. But at the same time, as you say, there's always hope. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and people need to remember that. Exactly the same question as with the alcohol. Any tips, any advice that you would give people to bounce back? Should they contact you to talk about that as well, type of thing?
Yeah, I always put it out there on social media. If anybody's struggling, I always put a message on saying, "Give me a ring." A few people do ring me. And it's just good to talk. Men don't talk. Men seem to think it's a weakness, don't they? Which I did for years. Thought it was a weakness. It's good to talk. Give a ring. You'll find me on social media. You'll find me on Facebook. You'll find me on Spartan. And I'm always up for a chat about mental health. Always. And you can beat it. You can get through it. Yeah, I'm living proof. I know you can.
Absolutely, yeah. Letting people know they're not alone. It's a
Yeah,
powerful.
not alone. Not alone. We're not alone.
Yeah.
Thousands of people out here struggling with mental health. Thousands, and just a 5-minute chat, and it makes a massive difference. Makes a massive difference.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, fair play to you. I mean, you've come through a lot, like I was saying at the beginning. Um, it's been an amazing story so far. We haven't even really got to the fighting yet, but we will soon. Well, in actual fact, we will now, because you mentioned as well when we were setting this up that you had to go at the white collar. Now, I'm not sure if this was like I guess this was sort of after the breakdown, that type of thing. But correct me on any timelines. But what inspired you to give that a go at that time, when obviously a lot of people would have given up? A lot of people would have thought, I'm too old for this, I'm finished. But you not only had to go, but you did very, very well. So let's get into that story a little bit,
As like I said before, I used to always like fighting. Always liked fighting. Then I had like a 20-year period where there were no fighting whatsoever. I was just getting on with life. That's it. I've stopped drinking. I've got a new job. I'm doing really well, but there's still always that little bit of a buzz there. I still want to have a little. I still wouldn't mind having a fight. It's still there. Then I got punched at work. I had two big young lads set back, and I took a couple of punches. I've jumped as I've realised what's happening. I've jumped back. I've gone, come on then, and these two lads have run off, and I've stood there. Adrenaline's fucking pouring out of my head, and I really enjoyed it. So I thought there and then it's like I'm gonna have to do something about this. And I got a friend of mine with a trainer at my local boxing club up at the Hood in Sheffield. It's a club where I still go to now. I still go to the Hood. Great boxing club. And a friend of mine, but one of the trainers, and I got in contact with him and said, "What's what?" And he said, "Just come and have a look." I think I was about 50, 51, 52, something like that then. Come and have a look, bring your shorts, and just see how you like it. And I fucking loved it. Absolutely loved it. Got in gym, smashing them bags, proper therapeutic, and signed up for a white collar. Signed up for a white collar, sold plenty of tickets. It was all for charity. And I did real well, and I won it. And I were extremely... I won it. It was boxing. It was dancing about in the ring. But it just weren't enough. I just wanted that little bit more. And at that time, I just started watching Spartan on Facebook. I just started watching Spartan on Facebook, and it just started creeping in here. Then, guess you do it. Guess you ever go at that? Do you think it'd be all right with that? Do you think he'd sign you on? So I'm always a massive overthinker. I overthink everything, right to the very end. I overthink everything, and so I got in contact with Christian. Got in contact with Christian. Sent him a message on private messenger, and the rest is history.
Absolutely amazing. And we'll come to that. One other thing I wanted to ask you about the white collar thing though. So you were like 51, 52, something like that. And the fella that you beat then, how old was he? He was obviously a lot younger, I'm guessing.
I think he was like 27, 28, 27, 28, on a young whippersnapper. We had a good fight. It was great. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Caught me with some good shots. I caught him with some good shots. And no, they were proper fit, and I was smoking loads at the time. I packed smoke when I signed up to Spartan. I stopped smoking. I went from 40 a day to 0 in that one thing, but up to doing that white collar, I was smoking loads, and I didn't think I was fit enough for it. I didn't think I'd last 3 rounds, and eventually I won all 3 rounds. And I was amazed. I was amazed when referee put my hand up and I won. I was amazed. But he was young fit lad. But luckily for me, I just caught him with a few better shots than what he caught me with.
Fair play. That's how to do it. That is very cool. So okay, so jumping into it with Spartan then. So you messaged Christian, he signed you out. Obviously, you've been with the company a long time now, so we'll be walking through some highlights of the fights. But with your first one and the first experience, when you first got in the pit, because obviously the pit's not like anything else as well, I mean, because bear in mind, I have people on here from everything, from MMA and kickboxing and boxing, all of it in the pit. It's not like any other type of fighting. So the first time you got in there, how did it go? What was your experience like with the crowd, with the fight, with the whole... I remember when we was on the phone, you were absolutely buzzing talking about this. So,
I've signed up for it. I've got in contact with Christian. We've had a few phone calls. He's matched me up. He's told me, score, you've got to sell some tickets and all this stuff. I've sold 25 tickets. I've been added to chat group, and all lads on there knows we're all. I've made loads of mates before I've even met them. We're just on this chat group. We've got those. It just seemed like I knew these lads for years. I've turned up for my first fight, sold 25 tickets, and the lad who were fighting didn't turn up. It were a no-show. But there were another lad what were fighting, and his opponent hadn't turned up as well. And he were a middleweight, and I were a lightweight. James Waitman, really nice kid, we're still friends now. He wanted a fight. I wanted a fight. I've been training for months. And I was ready, really. No, you get it's strange when you fight for sport, and you get that fear, but you get that excitement at the same time. The excitement is unbelievable. You're getting an 88 square air bales. It's just madness, and big crowd. It's lights, and it is so. Eventually, my man's not turned up. James's man's not turned up. So I've said to him, "Do we fancy getting in them? Let's have a chat with Christian and see if we both can get in." I'm raring to go, and he's raring to go. And Christian said, "Look, if you shouldn't do the different weights, but if you both agree to it, you can go on last." So we were like, we went on last, so we were like top of the bill. It was just mad, and you come out to music and jump in that pit. And James took his shirt off, and he had a fucking red body on him. Oh, he had full muscles, full six-pack, full everything. And it were at that point where I thought, what am I doing here? But we got it on. Referee said fight. Both went like that, and I got knocked out in 30 seconds. Next thing I know, I'm looking up like that, seeing stars. But it was just such an experience. It was unbelievable. It was just such an experience. And then afterwards, people coming shaking my hand and saying, "Well done. I wouldn't have got in there with him." And it was just an experience. I only went to do it once. I was only going to do it once, just to see what it was like, just to see if I'd got enough balls for it, just to make sure my bottle didn't go, just to see if I'd do it. And I got a phone call day after off. Christian asked me if I wanted to do it again. And straight away I was like, yes, I fucking do. Yes, I do. And that was it.
Absolutely amazing. Because I remember the same thing. I mean, you're buzzing about it now. When we spoke before, you was buzzing about it. And obviously the respect that everyone has for each other, like being famous for a day, you said, and everything. I mean, it's amazing experience. So obviously you've been in the pit a bunch of times now, and this is the thing, walking through all of them is a big thing. So what I'm going to say instead of that is for you to share your personal highlights. You know what I mean? Because you've been in there with some of the best guys. You've been with the company a long time. So really, out of the fights that you've had, what are some of your favorite moments? I know that's a pretty big question because you've obviously done a lot, but I reckon there's got to be a few moments that really stand out in your mind as being some of your personal favorites,
Well, all of them is just mad. When we were in lockdown, when it were pandemic, we had a couple of different shows, Pandemic 1 and Pandemic 2, and they were just outside in a car park, and you just got air bales there, and you've got a little bit of a crowd round you, and it knows proper bare knuckle what you see on telly, but knows what you see on films. They were just like so surreal where you see on films. And though I think one of them, I think it was February when I fought John Best. It was freezing cold. Police have turned up. They didn't shut us down. Police let us carry on with it because we got a few hundred people there. And that'll always be. There's a picture of Christian fist pumping when a policeman was leaning over a fence. And I was there. I was fighting on that show, and I ended up having to go on first. I weren't ready for it. I weren't prepared. It was all rushed, and then it's just surreal, just mind blowing. And do another one There was another one where I fought Ant Harrison, any man. And again, I took that fight on after 5 days' notice. Somebody pulled out, and again, it was pandemic. It was a bit naughty. It were just, again, we were just like back in this warehouse. Because not forgetting is up till COVID, Spartan were just getting better and better and better and bigger and bigger, and then COVID just ruined everything. It were up till COVID, we were in the Cedar Hotel in Bradford with all flashing lights and all music and all that, and then all of a sudden but all I wanted to do was just get in that pit and have a fight. That's it. So it didn't really matter. It didn't really matter. But it was just, I signed up for rough and readiness, for real, like stand and fight, realness, not all lights and all that. And so I got it. And another one where I ended up fighting a lad called Sean Kennedy, which again were a bit short notice. Opponents change. With Spartan, you never know what's going to happen because you get loads of people pulling out at last minute. Loads of people balls shrink. They want to be Spartans. They want to be fighters. They want to get in pit. But when it actually starts getting a bit closer to it, they start dropping off. So your opponent can change at any time. And I fought Sean Kennedy with about a week's notice. Didn't know about him. And I'm just talking to this lad in car park before the fight, and it ends up being Sean Kennedy, lad I'm fighting. And another one, he takes his fucking shirt off. Takes it. I've never seen him before. Never met him. He weren't on Facebook. I've not seen him. He takes his shirt off. He's covered in tattoos. He's all ripped. He's all muscly. And this were at Oldham in a field, just in a field, and pit were raised up on a scaffold. A little scaffold so everybody could see, everybody got a good view, and it was just Tony Quigley were refereeing, and it was just, we both stood there and fight, and all I can remember about it is he fucking wouldn't stop punching me. It was just really fast punching, not hard punches, but just bang, 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 bang. And I got into the second round, and it's put me down in the second round, and it was all over. And that fight just sticks out to me real well. Just stood in pit, and you look round and you're above everybody. When that pit's raised, it makes a massive difference. And you just look round and you can see everybody's heads, and just madness. And he broke my nose and all.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, I knew that would be a great answer, but that was a really, really good answer because, you know, at the end of the day, watching the fights is one thing, but you being in there is another. So getting your favorite memories is amazing. What about like the toughest fights? Because I know with Spartan, every fight is tough, it's fast paced, it's vicious, it's like you've got nowhere to go. It's all these things. But are there any that stand out for you as being slightly tougher where you had to dig deep than any others, or are they all pretty much on an even keel with that one?
I'd said they're all more or less even. They're all more or less even. They're all same. You're trying to smash his face and he's trying to smash your face in. But last fight I had was with Andy Shields, and that he really surprised me. He really did surprise me, Andy Shields. He fucking punched real hard. He punched. When he punched me, I proper felt it. Proper know you know you've been punched, and yeah, I'd say that were probably my hardest fight. And he knocked me down in. I nearly got to end the first round, but he hit me hard. He hit me real hard, and it Mia's were ringing for about a week after that, and I got a few couple of black eyes and a few nice bruises off the Mr. Shields. Really good mate of mine. No, he more or less joined Spartan at the same time as me, and he's been about a bit. He's had some hard fights, and fit as a fucking butcher's dog. Knows he's a proper athletic body, and yeah, he punched hard, but he punched hard. And it was really hard to hit, and all he moved fast. He moves fast. So I'd say that was about all this one I've had. But they've all been hard. They're all hard. I wouldn't take it away from nobody in that pit at all. They're all hard, and we're all there for the same thing. They want to smash my face in, I want to smash their face in, and then I want to shake their hand after. And then we're best mates after. That's the madness of Spartan. We're all best mates, really.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, yeah, when I ask that question, by the way, respect to everyone who gets in there, because it is next level. And the other thing I got to say is, yeah, I mean, the respect between everyone that you see with Spartan, you don't see in a lot of promotions. I've said that before on these shows, but, you know, like you say, everyone, well, inviting everyone for a pint. I mean, I know you're having your water, but still, you know, it's the thought that counts, isn't it? Inviting everyone together afterwards and all that is next level respect. So, how fast is it in there then? Because it's one thing to watch the fights, obviously, but it's like it's got to be faster than anything else, any other fighting style that I interview, if you get what I mean. Is yeah, how fast does it actually go when you're actually in a pit?
It's generally referee puts his arm in between you. Are you ready? Are you ready? You both say yeah. You both say yeah, and he goes fight. And generally, once he's gone fight, you've either landed a punch or he's landed a punch within 3 seconds. Yeah. That's it, because you both got full. That's it, and then that's it. And it's real quick, and to me it seems to last about 10 seconds. And that's not like a minute. It feels like it's lasted about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And adrenaline's just mad. No, it's just mad. It's just the buzz is unbelievable. It's unbelievable buzz.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. It's amazing. It goes by in a flash in that sense. Now, another thing I've got to ask you again, like we were talking earlier with the white collar thing, and you were like 50, whatever, 51, 52, he was like 20, late 20s. So same type of thing. Obviously, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think age is just a number and everything, right? But I also got to say, personally, I think it's super cool that you're doing this in your 50s and, you know, you're fighting these lads who are a lot younger. So generally speaking, I mean, obviously a lot of them I've met or I've seen the fights or interviewed them or whatever, but generally it's the same thing, isn't it? They're like 20s, 30s, you know, that type of thing. And you've got probably 20 years on them. What do you make of being one of the only people who's doing that, basically? I mean, at your age, you know?
I really do see myself as the same age as everybody else. I know everybody's younger. I know they're all younger. They're all fitter. They're all taller. They're all bigger. But I just see everybody at the same age. I get in that pit and I don't think, God, he's only 27 years old. He's going to be fit as fuck. Or I don't see it like that. And they're just lads what want to have a fight. Whether they are, but they're all younger than me. They all are. All I can say is, I wish I were doing it when I was in my 20s. I'd probably be fucking world champion now if I were doing it in my 20s. And it's because as you get older, it's harder to get fitter. I'll say for me, it's a lot harder for me to get fit, stay fit. It's that's a downside of being a bit older doing it, but we're all same age. And it's an age is just a number. An age is just a number, and you're as old as you feel, aren't you?
Absolutely, 110%. I believe it's just a number, but it's still worth highlighting, you know, because like I said, I got mad respect for that, you know, getting in there, you know, at your time in life and everything. I mean, I know it's sort of a personal question, but say if you were like 51, 52 with the white collar thing, how old are you now then?
I'm 55 now.
There we go. Mad respect for that, brother. I mean, it is just a number, but at the same time, what you're doing in a funny type of way, it shows people that age is just a number, if you get what I mean. It's the same thing as I said earlier. People will look at you, and I don't know if you realize this now, think, you know what, if he's doing it, I can do it as well. And I tell you what, there's a lot of guys out there that's in the same boat as you, where they didn't have that opportunity when they was growing up or when they were a bit younger, they had kids, or they had other things going on, and they want to do it and they think, oh man, it's too late now. I mean, I'm over the hill, whatever. And you show them that they can still get in there and live the dream a bit. I mean, so how long do you reckon you'll keep competing then? Do you reckon you'll still be in there like 65 or something like that?
I will say I do get quite a few geezers do message me on Facebook asking me how old I am, telling me I'm 48, I'm 49, I'm 51, I'm 50, whatever. And you're like, how do you get into it? And I said to them, look, message Christian, come and have a go. That's it. No, you're okay. Don't matter. Don't matter. As long as you're pretty fit, you're okay. And as far as retiring goes, I want to carry on until either I win a belt, or I just can't do it anymore. And until I can't do it anymore, as in maybe get a cheekbone broke or jaw broke, or I break my hands too severe, or I break my nose, I get injured too much, or I just can't do it anymore. What you do get to a certain age where you just can't do it no more. But up to that point, I'm just going to carry on, and while every Christian can match me up, that's it. I'll just keep coming for it, and that's it. And every time Christians match me up, it's always match me up bang on. Because I've always got a chance when I get in that pit. I might be older, I might be a bit smaller, I might not be as fit as rest of the lads, but I've always got a chance. Always got a chance. So whatever. But I do get a few. I've got a couple of haters out there. What like to put disrespectful comments on when I'm promoting my next fight and that sort of stuff. And all I can say to them is, fucking come and get in pit with me then. Oh, big brave geezers. Come and get in pit and let's see how brave you are. Not many people take that challenge.
I was going to say, yeah, none of the keyboard people will have taken that. No, that's always the way. Which does lead me, as we're coming into the last couple of things with this, it does lead me to basically people you'd like to thank who've supported you along the journey. Obviously, Christian, giving you the opportunity in the first place, other people with the Spartan team, people who buy tickets. I mean, it doesn't matter what area the support comes in, but just other people who've helped you along the way, because it's good to get their name out there, because obviously you know them and they know you and everything, but to the rest of the world, there's a lot of people helping fighters that are like behind the scenes, if you get what I mean. So giving their names a shout out would be a good thing as well.
Well, firstly, it's got to be Christian, and Christian give me that chance. He gave me that chance, and he's still got faith in me. He's still got faith in me, and he still matches me. Everybody I fought in that pit, everybody what's turned up, and everybody what's stood there and fought in that pit, which will be, let me think, James Waitman, Keith Lynch, John Best, Ants Harrison, Sean Kennedy, Andy Shields. I think I might be missing one out here as well. I'm not sure if that was 7. I've been in pit 7 times, so it's hard to remember now. And I'd like to thank Regan Denton, Diod Boxing Gym. I love it. I love it going there. I love training there. I love atmosphere there. There's no there's no attitudes. There's nobody walking about thinking he's fucking right hard and that, which you can get in certain gyms. It's just a nice family relaxed boxing gym. And most of all, I'd just like to thank everybody who buys a ticket. Anybody who buys a ticket, because we are people going and cheering me on. And we aren't buying tickets, I won't be able to do it. So that's it. Just keep coming, keep watching me, keep buying tickets, and all the fans. Because when I walk in, I get in that pit, everybody's cheering for me. I get fucking loads of people cheering for me. All the fans, what I don't even know, what I've never even met. And I can hear them shouting my name and I don't even know them. And go on, Phil. And it's like, fucking hell. It's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. I'd just like thank everybody. No, like you've got your Robbie Adamson. He's a good bit of a mentor for me. Donnell John, even Tony Meehan when he was at Spartan, he was a good mate of mine, and just loads of people. Everybody, all lads I've met over these last few years, and all lads love it.
Absolutely, yeah. An amazing team, amazing fighters, some of the toughest people you'll meet anywhere. So absolutely incredible. Well, we've talked about a lot, and we've packed a lot in. What a life you've lived so far. I mean, definitely a roller coaster, but an exciting one. Oh, there's one other thing I was going to ask you, by the way, which I meant to ask you earlier and I forgot. But as you were telling me on the phone, with your job, day-to-day job being a traffic warden, right? Do you get recognized? Do the people in work watch your fights? I mean, what's the sort of vibe with being a bare knuckle boxing traffic warden? We've got to give that a quick mention, and we'll wrap this up then. But that's a story worth telling, you know.
I ain't been recognised on streets yet. I'm wearing a uniform. I've got a different hat on. I look totally different. People don't. When you do job what I do, people don't look at me. They look at my uniform. And so they don't recognise me. But when they give me plenty of lip and they think that they're going to start and get violent, and I turn around and I say, "Oh God," and I go, "Well, come on then they always like to think twice." But I've not been recognised in the street, not yet. When I win that world title, when I get that world title, then I might get recognised.
Absolutely, yeah. We have to give that a mention as well. Well, all I can say is a big thank you for your time, and a big thank you for being an open book and sharing, some very personal stuff about your life. I'm really glad that we finally got to do this, because you're such a legend in the game, and I've wanted to do this for a long time. But like I said to you before, I get so many requests. I have lists of people I got to get to. But the fact we finally got this out there, and we'll tell the world your story in full, for the first time, it's a real honor to be the person to do that. So yeah, thank you so much, man. It's been fun.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.